Tonight, salt shortage.
So if I can't deliver salt to their sheds, they can't put it on the roads.
Hitting contractors and suppliers hard.
So normally I'd like it to be all the way out to where I'm standing. So it's quite a bit difference.
And how it could impact ice clearing efforts. Also,
we're trying. We're not going to give up.
Searching for answers.
Very sad for Missy. He doesn't deserve this.
9 years later.
It's rare for us to not have an open case for this long.
The renewed push to solve the disappearance of Derek Ritz. And making a positive impact.
Dusty, I would say, is the most popular employee now at Stratford Police.
Dusty the dog reports for duty.
Policing can be a very emotionally heavy job, and it's nice to be able to have that release.
How she's sniffing out stress and providing tail-wagging therapy. Most of southern Ontario spent most of the day under a freezing rain warning. It was mixed with snow and ice pellets. Potential slippery conditions expected throughout the evening, too. This is just the beginning of a week of changing weather. As the saying goes, if you don't like the weather, give it a couple of hours. Good evening. The fast-changing conditions are typical of an unpredictable winter season we've had so far. From rain to snow to freezing rain, it can all change in a matter of minutes. It's something we're seeing outside right now. And let's go outside to CTV's Spencer Turcotte, who joins us live from Belmont Village. Spencer, it sounds like it's raining, but tell us, what's it like out there right now?
Yeah, well, if you squint hard enough and tilt your head slightly, you may convince yourself you're on a little tropical vacation, but no matter how you look at it, this area has seen a lot of precipitation so far this year.
So for the Kitchener area in particular, you guys have been affected by many lake effect snow squalls over the past few weeks. You happen to be in the bullseye for those events, as we've had many clippers come by bringing cold air in behind, setting off that lake effect snow squalls.
And those weather conditions are something to keep an eye out for, especially with the temperature tiptoeing around that freezing mark as we're seeing right now. It can just take a half-degree swing here or there to make the rain turn to freezing rain or snow. All conditions we have seen today or are expecting to see in the next several hours, depending on where you are. And that makes things tricky when it comes to analyzing road conditions or around bodies of water when it comes to possibilities of flooding.
It can be very difficult and challenging for forecasters to determine exactly what kind of precipitation is going to be falling, particularly for low pressure systems that skirt just along the lower lakes. Those events really have a very fine boundary between above and below zero, which is what defines whether it falls as snow or freezing rain or a mix.
And with those conditions changing quickly, just be mindful of that if you do have to head out tonight on those roads. And as always, keep a safe distance from the car ahead of you. Man.
Yeah, it's an important reminder, Spencer. I think we're all going to have to squint a little harder to pretend we're on that tropical vacation right now. CTV's Spencer Turcotte live in Belmont Village. Spencer, thanks. It has already been a long, hard winter, and it's taking a toll on the supply of road salt. From cities to salt suppliers, and even the mine in Goderich confirm there is a shortage of salt, and it's unclear when the situation will improve. CTV's Jeff Pickle joins us with more on this. And Jeff, pretty much everyone you spoke with today says this is a real problem.
Well, Leanne, I spoke with a trucking company out of Stratford who say they have trucks that are waiting in line at the Goderich mine for hours, waiting to fill those loads and then deliver them to the townships there. And the mine has told them on some occasions that they're unable to fill those orders. I spoke with another supplier in Kitchener who says they've had to source salt from Egypt in order to fulfill their contractors. And really everywhere you go, all down the supply chain, salt is a hot commodity.
We've been trying to stretch the salt out, blending it with our sand and salt inventory just so we have enough on hand.
A dwindling supply of salt in yards across Ontario.
It would be right out to the front of the blocks here and heaping.
What started as over 200 tons of salt, now down to less than 10. Ryan Boston's hauls salts for Perth County and its townships, but says this year it's been difficult.
So if I can't deliver salt to their sheds, they can't put it on the roads. That impacts the ability for snow melting and ice melting greatly.
Boston says since the end of November, his trucks, along with many others, have been waiting in long lines at the Godridge mine.
Basically what happens is you show up and there's a lineup, and quite often the lineup gets right up onto Highway 21. So what that translates into is 3 to 4 hours wait time to get a load of salt.
In Kitchener at Your Salt Connection.
So normally I'd like it to be all the way out to where I'm standing. So it's quite a bit difference. We're talking about hundreds of tons of salt that should be in here.
A similar scene with salt supplies running very low, struggling to meet demand from contractors.
This year has been much more difficult with some shortages that have happened. We've had issues with the mine.
With the mines in Godridge and Windsor unable to fulfill demand, they've had to source salt from overseas.
Last week we had some salt that was sitting on the docks that's brought in from Egypt, and we had to bring it in. Supply is low, demand is high, the price just continuously moves. It's probably well over 100% more expensive than it was on December 1st.
At the consumer level, the same story.
Again, this is an off-brand that we've been using. It's a pet-friendly ice melter. Beautiful.
At Bowman's Home Hardware, a delivery of ice melter just arrived.
Out of the warehouse is normally where we get our stuff, and we've had to use other outside suppliers just to keep up. And even then, it's been tight.
But Bowman says it will likely go fast. Compass Minerals, who operate the Godridge mine, confirms the shortage, saying with the significant impact of winter weather compared to recent seasons, the entire road salt supply chain continues to experience high demand for de-icing salt. A frustrating problem that could result in more ice on the roads. And the good news here is that from what the mine tells us, they do try to fulfill those municipalities first to make sure those roads get cleared. And we reached out to the local cities and townships, and they do say that although supplies are lower than normal, they do have enough for the coming weeks ahead. Leanne?
Yeah, that's good news, Jeff, because we are just getting into the thick of winter. CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us live this hour. A shortage of salt, not good for the weather that we are seeing right now. We're going to dive deeper into the forecast with CTV's Ashley Bacon joining us live in studio tonight. Ash, it's messy out there, of course, for anyone about to embark on their evening commute. Definitely have to keep top of mind to go slow.
Absolutely. Salt and ice melting material, very important over the last few weeks, Leanne. We've seen tons of snow and ice and even freezing rain build up over the last few weeks until this evening. Now, the good news is Environment Canada has taken away their warning for freezing rain, so we're in the clear in that sense. Another good news is we are expected to reach above normal temperatures over the next few days. As we look at our satellite, there's a band of precipitation still lingering, so we are still going to see a lot of rainfall and maybe some mixed precipitation over the next few hours, but likelihood of it being a large accumulation of snow or ice, unlikely, which is great. 6 millimeters of rain expected over the next 12 hours or so, Leanne, but I'll have more news on what we can expect for warmer temperatures coming up a little later in the show.
Okay, Ashley, thanks very much. 9 years later and still no answers. Stratford police are offering up a $10,000 reward for any information that will help them crack a cold case. Derek Ritz, known as Ritzy to his friends, vanished in December 2016 from a Sebringville home. His disappearance has haunted a community for nearly a decade. And as CTV's Hannah Schmidt tells us, both investigators and those close to Ritz believe someone out there knows exactly what happened.
It's been 9 long years, and Ritzy deserves better than this.
Another year with no answers.
We're trying. We're not going to give up. Phil and I will not give up. His best friend and I will not give up. We're trying, and we're doing the best we can right now.
Derek Ritz, or Ritzy to his friends, vanished in December 2016 after he was last seen at a home in Sebringville, just west of Stratford.
There's been a lot of the same stuff been repeated to the investigators, so we know we're on the right track.
A lot of the information that we get is pretty similar in nature, and a lot of it's third hand because everyone's heard the stories that are out there.
Over the past 9 years, there have been several ground and air searches for Ritz, who was known to frequently walk from Sebringville to Stratford which takes just over an hour.
They've all come up negative. We're still investigating, and we still get the odd tip here and there, just not as frequently as we'd like. And we just need to close some loops.
Now Stratford police say they're renewing their push for answers, offering a $10,000 reward for information that leads to the 51-year-old's whereabouts or those responsible for his disappearance.
It's rare for us to not have an open case for this long. We're not closing the fact that he may be alive because we don't have proof that he is deceased.
For Ritz's friend Shelley Smith, the announcement is emotional but overdue.
It's sad that it had to be a reward amount of dollars for them to want to come forward or to give them incentive. But this is where we're at, right? People are afraid.
Smith has spent years keeping Ritz's name alive, working alongside both police and Please Bring Me Home Canada, a nonprofit that helps families search for missing loved ones.
We're pretty sure we know what happened. We just need to be able to prove it.
As of 2024, 2025, we had 2 investigators who were strictly involved in investigating, over 100 individuals in regards to this case to try and close it for us.
Police say this reward is meant to break that silence, reminding anyone with information that it's never too late to come forward.
Hopefully we can find where Derek is or, get somebody charged with his disappearance.
For Smith, it's a push to finally get some questions answered.
Sure. Very sad for Ritzy. He doesn't deserve this.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Stratford.
In Barrie, a mother has now been charged with first-degree murder in the death of her child. The body of a 10-year-old boy was found inside his family's home on New Year's Eve. CTV's Rob Cooper has more.
6 days after finding the body of a 10-year-old Barrie boy inside his family townhouse, police today laid the first-degree murder charge. Barrie police refusing to answer any additional questions, but releasing this produced video on their website and social media.
The boy was found deceased after police were called to a well-being check on New Year's Eve. The woman charged is the mother of the victim.
Police say the mother was also found inside the home and was taken to hospital. Police, again, not disclosing what medical attention she required, but investigators say once she was cleared medically, they charged her with first-degree murder. The 47-year-old woman remains in custody tonight and made her first court appearance by phone inside the hospital.
Officers from the Major Crime Unit and the Forensic Identification Unit are continuing their investigation.
Police were called to this apartment complex by Bayview Drive and Little Avenue at around 3 in the afternoon on New Year's Eve. Neighbors say they are devastated with the young boy's death and the first-degree murder charge.
It's sad because they seem to be doing okay. The kid is fine, the mother seems to be fine, but it's a shock to the whole neighborhood. And it's still hard for me to sleep sometimes.
And that was Rob Cooper reporting. A Toronto family is demanding answers after their son fell several meters from an indoor zip line. Another parent says he questioned staff at the facility about the safety measures in place weeks before the incident. CTV's Sean Leathong has that story.
This video of 11-year-old Rauman Azizi falling several meters from a zip line may appear shocking, but one person who saw it says he's been trying to stop something like this from happening.
What I think needs to happen is that the park needs to fully shut down. Inspectors need to go in there to make sure that all the staff are qualified on all activities.
Denver Nuttall has worked as a rock climbing instructor and as a guide for treetop trekking.
There should be no carabiner there.
Back on December 15th, Nuttall attended Aerosports Parks in Scarborough with his 10-year-old son. Right away, he noticed problems.
It was too dark in order to have any of those physical activities for the kids to be safe in any way.
Nuttall says his son likes rope courses and is experienced, but that there were too few staff. Staff appeared not to be trained, and like we showed in this video, no staff where the zip line starts.
If you have a zip line, a guide must be present at that launch in order to fully check out all the equipment and to ask if there's any questions or concerns that the climber or customer would have, especially when you're dealing with children.
Nuttall says he questions staff about what they do if a child gets stuck on the ropes course.
And the two that I questioned have never even been on that obstacle course themselves because they were afraid of heights.
Nuttall says he questioned management but got no answers. He also contacted the Technical Standards and Safety Authority. Then he saw this video yesterday.
I feel horrible inside Because it's like I feel kind of responsible because I know of all these safety features and that none of them are in play, but yet I can't get through to anybody until there's an actual accident.
As we showed you yesterday, Rahman Azizi is recovering at home, having avoided serious injury. His parents were also stunned by the lack of staff at Aerosports.
No staff came in even until we left that facility.
Aerosports is once again open today, and they once again declined to comment. We also reached out to the TSSA and the Ministry of Labor to see if they're looking into this incident. The Ministry of Labor has confirmed that they were on site investigating today, and the TSSA has sent a statement saying TSSA has been investigating the incident today. The team on site has now determined that the Zipline device does fall within TSSA's jurisdiction. The operator had not notified TSSA that it had been installed, and therefore it was not authorized by TSSA. The equipment has been taken out of service. The family of Rahman Azizi says they still have not been contacted by Aerosports since the incident. Sean Leithong, CTV News.
A fuel fluke still ahead on CTV News. Why a Cambridge woman is warning others about a possible gas contamination issue at a Hespeler station, and advice on what to do if you have your own concerns.
Although warnings have been lifted, we're not out of the woods for flurries just yet. More details coming up on how much we're expecting through the night and tomorrow.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
A Cambridge woman is warning drivers after she says her pickup truck was filled with contaminated fuel. Chrissy Allen says her husband fueled up at a Shell station on Hespeler Road Sunday night, but by Monday morning the truck had trouble starting. Let's go to CTV's Alexandra Hollick now with more on this. Alexandra, do we know what caused the contamination?
Not at this point, Leanne, but a Shell spokesperson did confirm they are aware of the issue and are working to get the pumps back online.
Fuel has stopped flowing at this Cambridge gas station. The petrol put on pause as crews investigate a possible contamination issue.
There's obviously an issue with the gas.
Chrissy Allen fills up her family vehicles here twice a week, every week. But on Sunday night, something was different.
I didn't know until my husband came home that he had trouble starting the car yesterday. And then he said it was rough. The engine lights came on, something that a 2022 truck should not be doing.
Allen says her husband took the pickup truck into the shop. In the meantime, she turned to social media for answers.
I can't believe the amount of people that have said that, yes, we're doing the same thing you're going through right now. The car's in the shop or has been in the shop to have the fuel drained out, because that was the issue.
It's really difficult to say what it looks like. It's more of how it performs in the vehicle.
Columbia Auto Group in Waterloo says it doesn't often see fuel contamination, but it can be a pain for drivers as soon as they leave the pump.
You could have something as simple as an engine misfire, check engine light, or up to and including drivability concerns or no starts where the vehicle just won't start.
It's more stressful knowing what could have been.
CTV News spoke with the family that owns the Shell station here off camera. They confirmed the gas was contaminated, but are still trying to figure out what happened.
I just want the station to hold up to their name. You know you're like you're the one that caused this issue, fix it.
In a statement to CTV News, a Shell spokesperson says the company is aware of, quote, potential fuel quality concerns at the Hespeler Road location. We have suspended gasoline sales as a precautionary measure, and initial testing has not identified any issues, the spokesperson says. There is no impact to other Shell stations. The site will resume gas sales once we are confident the fuel meets Shell's quality standards. When she complained, Shell advised the issue would be addressed through insurance providers, but Allen says more needs to be done.
No apology, no nothing. Sorry that this happened. You know, no nothing.
For those who may have fuel contamination concerns of their own, mechanics recommend taking their vehicles into the shop right away so the problem can be dealt with before it combusts into a bigger issue. Leanne.
Okay, Alexandra, thanks for that. CTV's Alexandra Hollick joining us live this hour. The future of Waterloo Region's water supply remains murky. The region releasing a report today confirming their concerns about water capacity issues in the Mannheim service area. And the region says it can't support new housing developments in the area at this time. CTV's Colton Weens explains.
There is a water capacity issue in the Mannheim service area, which supplies water to most of Kitchener and Waterloo, as well as parts of Cambridge and the townships of Woolwich and Wilmot.
Today there's enough water. We just need to make sure that we can treat it in the appropriate volumes and then fix the system as we go along.
The Middleton service area that supplies the rest of Cambridge has a surplus of water, but right now there is no way to get that water up to Mannheim. The region is revising how it operates the water system, establishing a buffer for repairs or emergencies, but the capacity can't support new residential developments in the area right now.
There's a lot of development applications that have already been approved, but for whenever they consult us today, now that we're aware that we need to rebuild that operational resiliency piece, we would say we can't support these applications at this time.
The region doesn't have the authority to approve housing developments in its cities, but instead provides comments on those projects. On Monday, Kitchener's Planning and Strategic Initiatives Committee deferred a decision on a zoning amendment to build 3 high-rise residential towers along Cortland Avenue East after the region provided comment that it couldn't support it.
It is staff's recommendation that a final decision on this matter could be deferred to January 12th in order to understand new additional information.
The region says new infrastructure is needed to support new developments in the Mannheim service area. A dedicated email and phone line is now available for developers with questions.
I think this is where we need to work really collaboratively with them and with the development industry to try to understand when are things actually going to come online so we can really fine-tune the work. And while we work on the technical solutions.
Now, the region reiterates it's not a water quality issue, it's a water quantity issue, and there is still enough water for the entire community right now, and residents don't need to change their water consumption habits, but the region will continue looking for new water capacity projects to continue supporting the community going forward. Colton Weens, CTV News, Kitchener.
Slippery, slushy, and snowy. Live look from Belmont Village as we approach the 6:30 mark on this Tuesday evening. The freezing rain warning has lifted in Waterloo region, but it doesn't mean that it's not messy out there tonight. Keep it in mind if you're heading out on the roads. Ashley will join us with the full forecast coming up after the break. And also ahead, Donald Trump praises the mission that ousted Venezuela's longtime leader. What we know about the raid and operation. And later, Dusty the dog reports for duty. We meet the newest member of Stratford Police and find out how the pup is helping the force and the community. Ashley's back with a look at the full forecast and what's in store. We've been talking about it a little bit, but temperatures kind of fluctuating, and that's why we're seeing these slick, messy conditions out there.
Absolutely, and we had a bit of a deep freeze to end off 2025 and a weird wintry mix to start 2026, but we're about to get even weirder. It's going to get warm over the next few days, considerably warmer than what we felt in the last few weeks. So
getting weird.
It's just a bit of a strange start to 2026, but I don't think too many people are complaining yet.
Yeah, hey, I'm okay with the temperatures rising. What I'm worried about is the snow melt, because we have seen a lot of accumulation.
You are right on par there, and that will potentially be an issue in a couple days' times as we take a look from Belmont Village again this evening. Thank you, Dave Pettit, our camera operator, for bringing us this shot tonight. You can see on the roads there, they're starting to look slick. And I will say, I did hop out of the studio for a couple of minutes on my lunch break and drove around, and there is some pooling on many city streets already occurring. So that can definitely cause the drive to be a little bit more of a slow one. So you want to take care while you're out on the roads there. And as Leanne mentioned, we're going to see some more of it. And this is what we're talking about. In the purple zone there, that indicates what we might have a few more flurries going to occur over the next few hours. In the green, we're looking at rain, and in the pink, mixed precipitation. So as we get into Wednesday overnight and tomorrow morning, that's going to start to clear out. We're going to have a few flurries through tomorrow morning, but essentially we'll have a cloudy day. Hopefully that means we'll have a bit of a break of the precipitation for a little while. That cloud cover is expected to last through to the day. Looking at temperatures now across the country, starting on the west coast, 7 degrees in Vancouver, very warm. Believe it or not, we're going to see similar temperatures here in a few days. -9 in Regina, -10 in Winnipeg, -16 in St. John's, -10 in Montreal. So pretty wide variety of temperatures right now across the country. Overnight here, though, we're expected to sit around the 0 mark, and that's when we start to get the freezing rain mixture as well as the flurries, and it can be back and forth a little bit through the night. We're only looking at a 20-kilometer-per-hour wind gust, so it's not going to be as windy as we've felt over the last few weeks as well. Tomorrow, however, that's when the temperatures start to rise for a few days. We're looking at a daytime high of around 4 degrees. Flurries in the morning. It will continue throughout the day, though, so it will be more warm. We might not see as many flurries because of that. Back in 2018, though, -25.6. So I'll take that 4 degrees over that any day of the week. Looking at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo Region, look at Thursday rather. A mix of sun and cloud, a high of 6 degrees. But what's really interesting is the overnight low of just 5 degrees. So temperatures aren't going to dip overnight, and we might see a lot of that melt occurring on Friday as well, with high temperatures and rain expected. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions there. For your Thursday, you're looking at 9 degrees, an overnight low of just 8. So again, a lot of melting snow is expected because of these conditions. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, a mix of sun and cloud for your Thursday, a high of 6 degrees and an overnight low of 5, Leanne. So we're going to see, as you said, lots of melt, and with the rain returning by Friday and converting into some cooler temperatures on the weekend, could make for a messy start to Saturday. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there in a few days. Right now, let's take a look at the Weather Watcher photo. The calm before and after the storm, I'm dubbing this one. Thank you, Karen, for sending in this photo. She snapped it on Monday in Burlington and says the swans seem to be enjoying a calm afternoon. And I'm sure that is, in fact, the case, because it has been a bit turbulent with the weather. And of course, if you have Weather Watcher photos you'd like to share, please make sure to send them in.
Yes, another great one. And we can all hope that will be the swans one day soon.
One day soon, indeed.
Ashley, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was in Paris today to discuss Ukraine's security priorities. Allies in the coalition of the willing signed a statement pledging their support. CTV's Mike Couture has the latest.
Ahead of the meeting hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron, Prime Minister Mark Carney said the goal was to finalize security guarantees for Ukraine. World leaders were joined by representatives from the U.S., hoping to build on the momentum towards peace.
Our main objective is to finalize the security guarantees amongst ourselves which create the possibility of a just and lasting peace for Ukraine.
The meeting brought together more than 30 world leaders who make up the coalition of the willing. They agreed to participate in a U.S.-led ceasefire monitoring and verification mechanism, long-term support for Ukraine's armed forces, plus a multinational force to backstop Ukraine's military. There was also agreement on finalizing binding commitments to support Ukraine in the event that Russia breaks the ceasefire. And the countries agreed to deepen long-term defense cooperation with Ukraine.
Following a ceasefire, the UK and France will establish military hubs across Ukraine and build protected facilities for weapons and military equipment to support Ukraine's defensive needs.
Now, Canada's contribution could include troops on the ground as part of that multilateral backstop, something the government is ramping up for.
The largest military buildup in generations, coming over the course of the next 5 years, an additional $80 billion of investment, in part because of issues like this.
U.S. buy-in is key to any plan succeeding, and President Trump's envoy is supportive of this one.
We think we're largely finished with security protocols, which are important so that the people of Ukraine know that when this ends, it ends forever.
Regardless of the result of today's meeting, nothing can be put into place until there is a ceasefire. Prime Minister Carney reiterated the final elements of that need to be negotiated between the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Paris.
Now that Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro has been captured and charged with drug trafficking, many are asking what's next for that country. As the U.S. president says he will run Venezuela, but it's unclear what the plan is. With more, here's CTV's Joy Malvin.
The Prime Minister is facing new pressure to ensure Canadian oil remains competitive in light of U.S. President Donald Trump pledging to rebuild Venezuela's energy sector.
We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Asked today what impacts this could have on exports, Mark Carney said while a functioning Venezuela could eventually produce more oil, his government is working to expand Canadian capacity and access to new overseas markets.
We welcome the prospect of greater prosperity in Venezuela, but we also see the competitiveness of Canadian oil, and we're investing, or we're putting in place measures so that that's going to happen.
Carney's remarks came after Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre called for him to rapidly approve a new West Coast pipeline. In a letter to the PM, Poilievre said every barrel the United States sources from Venezuela could mean one less barrel these refineries would buy from Canada. Though experts say it will take several years and major investments before Venezuela could outpace the 4.5 billion barrels of crude that Canada produces per day.
It'll take billions and billions of dollars to correct the mismanagement of the Venezuelan crude oil system.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says the events in Venezuela emphasize the need to reach new buyers with new pipelines, while BC Premier David Eby said today he disagrees. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Okay, stay with us. We'll have more news for you coming up after the break. Work is underway to clear the ice from the St. Lawrence Seaway, which has trapped some ships and delayed the seasonal closure. A stretch of the critical shipping route is already covered in ice, particularly around the locks in eastern Ontario. This is one of 23 ships currently stuck in the Seaway due to ice buildup. Earlier this afternoon, it was making its way through the lock at Iroquois as it heads to Montreal. The Seaway was scheduled to close for the season on January 5th, but the cold December weather led to a large amount of ice buildup. Spectators showed up to see the ship go through the lock today.
You don't see this very often in the wintertime. I think most of the time they're cleared through. But this time we realized they were stuck and they would have to be moving at some point. So we just took a chance, and there was no snow this afternoon, so we thought we'd drive down and see.
Keeping the Seaway open into January is rare. It's only been done 9 times since 1959. Demonstrators gathered outside Queen's Park calling on the Ford government to ensure victims of the iPro Realty scandal are compensated. The scandal saw the now defunct company use millions from trust accounts meant to be used for Realtor commissions. CTV's Siobhan Morris has those details.
Pay today! Pay today!
That's the message from ex-iPro realtors caught in the middle of a scandal.
This is a fraud. This is a criminal negligence.
In May, the founders of iPro Realty pulled millions of dollars out of the company trust. The Real Estate Council of Ontario, or RECO, didn't do anything about it until August. In December, the government intervened, appointing an administrator, firing the RECO board. Claims for cash from former iPro employees have exploded to $30 million.
We want a clear dialogue and transparency so that we can reach at 100% of payment.
So far, the brokerage's 2,400 agents have been offered only half.
We work hard for our money and we deserve to get paid 100%.
The law should take action.
Sonia Zhang is waiting on $20,000.
Change a lot of decisions, like a family decision, and my mom is in ICU, so it's hard.
The minister in charge not available for an interview. But a spokesperson says the administrator and RECO are working with insurance on this, writing in part, our government will continue to hold RICO to the highest possible standards to ensure realtors receive 100% of the compensation they are owed. But there's no answer on when.
Our bills cannot wait.
This fight has cost realtors more than money.
Confidence in this profession and in the ethics of this country and this province.
The OPP has launched an investigation into all this, but there are questions about why it took so long for them to be notified.
This is an absolute catastrophic failure. I can't understand for the life of me why the decisions were made by the regulator to handle it in the way in which it was done.
An approach mired in secrecy that real estate professionals say has to change. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Okay, let's update our top stories tonight with CTV's Krista Simpson live in studio with us. And of course, Krista, our top story tonight is the weather.
Well, Leanne, we've seen both freezing rain and snow today, leaving a lot of ice and slippery conditions around the region. All of this coming on top of what's already been an intense winter, and it is only the first full week of January. It has taken a toll on the supply of road salt. It's hard to come by. Some suppliers now having to source it from overseas. The region of Waterloo says a new review has confirmed there is a water capacity issue in the Mannheim service area. That is the system that services Kitchener and Waterloo, as well as parts of Cambridge, Woolwich and Wilmot. The region's acting CAO says new infrastructure will be needed to support new residential developments in the affected areas.
And on our website tonight, Krista, we have a story about details in a lawsuit filed against Blackberry by a former employee.
Leanne, the court documents claim that the company has a, quote, boys club culture, and it's alleged that women who complained about it ended up fired. Now, we should note none of these allegations have been tested in court yet, and Blackberry has previously said the employee's claims have no merit and are filled with falsehoods and mischaracterizations. But for more information on what the two sides are saying in the court documents filed so far, scan the QR code on the bottom left of your screen to get the story on our CTV News app, or head straight to our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Leanne.
Okay, Krista, thanks very much for that. CTV's Krista Simpson live with us in studio with today's top stories. Stratford Police recently had a new four-legged friend join the force. Dusty is the first facility dog the service has had. And as CTV's Karis Mapp tells us, her role is to bring comfort and calmness to the community.
Stratford Police's newest member is reporting for duty. Dusty is a 3-year-old lab hired to make a positive impact.
She can really just be that bridge between the police and the community, victims who are really struggling to potentially come forward, and knowing that, when they show up, they're going to be greeted by Dusty.
She's been busy with assignments such as supporting victims in court or visiting local businesses.
And it just puts everybody at ease. They're able to pet the dog, which is calming for them. They're able to see that the dog is calm, which shows them that the place is safe and that they're going to be okay.
Different from a police canine, Dusty's tasks are all about engagement.
Canines are trained to search, they're trained to detect drugs, they're trained to apprehend individuals, whereas facility dogs are purpose-bred for providing emotional support for individuals.
But don't let the focused face fool you. When she's off the clock, Dusty is just like any other dog.
When she's around the station and hanging out with a lot of the officers and a lot of people that are here to visit, she's generally just a silly, sort of bouncy lab.
Dusty may be hard at work now, but it was only 4 short months ago that she was training for the big role right here at the National Service Dog Education Center. Staff at the Kitchener location say they fondly remember Dusty's training.
She was engaging, she was smart, she loved to work, she wasn't fazed by anything, and she loved to be with all kinds of different people all the time.
Dusty was given to Stratford Police through support by donors and Wounded Warriors Canada. The national mental health service provider for trauma-exposed professionals sponsors roughly 4 dogs a year at about $30,000 each.
They've made a tangible difference. They come in at difficult times. Police right now have the largest number of these dogs operational across the country.
And officers in Stratford say they're grateful to have Dusty on duty.
Policing can be a very emotionally heavy job. And it's nice to be able to have that release.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Stratford.
After the break, Toronto welcomes Japanese star slugger Kazuma Okamoto to town. as the Blue Jays load up for another World Series run. Stay with us. You're watching CTV News.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Toronto Blue Jays introduced their most recent acquisition today, Japanese star Kazuma Okamoto. He is the latest addition in what has been a busy offseason for the team, who are looking to follow up on last year's trip to the World Series. CTV's Raheem Ladani has more.
Meet the Blue Jays' newest $60 million player, and he's already working to endear himself to the fan base.
Hello everyone, my name is Kazuma Okamoto. I am very happy to join Blue Jays. I will work hard every day and do my best for the team.
Inking a 4-year deal, Kazuma Okamoto is a proven power hitter and known as a versatile defender who can play multiple positions. The 29-year-old was a star player in Japan and is making the move to a Blue Jays team that was 2 outs away from a World Series title last season. And Okamoto says it was the postseason run that showcased the city of Toronto in a unique way.
He was very impressed to see how the fans cheered loudly and how much there's so much love for the Blue Jays.
To give you some insight into Okamoto's personality, he said that when making this decision, he put all 30 MLB logos in front of his daughter, and she picked the Blue Jays, and that stuck with him throughout this entire process. Inside the Jays shop, Japanese media are already closely following the newly signed star and say Toronto's economy will also likely benefit from Okamoto's presence.
Okamoto is one of the greatest baseball player in Japan, and coming to MLB, I think this is a great thing. And a lot of fans wants to come in Toronto. Even my sister.
The Jays are sending a message this offseason. They're reloading for another World Series appearance. They've signed pitcher Dylan Cease to the richest pitching contract in franchise history, added to the bullpen. And with Shane Bieber opting into his player option, the team's rotation and bats are significantly bolstered.
This offseason, they've already spent over $300 million in contracts. To put that in perspective, that's 130 more than any other team. They're doing their best to be like the Los Angeles Dodgers.
There are still some question marks surrounding the team's roster. Primarily, are the Jays still pursuing free agent Bo Bichette? While general manager Ross Atkins wouldn't say directly, he did share this interesting observation.
Additions at this point will start to cut away at playing time from players that we feel are very good major league pieces, so we have to factor that in.
And the clock is ticking for any more moves, with spring training 46 days away. Raheem Ladani, CTV News, Toronto.
Can't wait. All right, more news ahead. First, here's Ashley.
Well, flurries overnight, likely to clear by the time you wake up in the morning. I'll have those details just after this break. Stay with us.
Tonight, Mark Carney shrugs off U.S. plans to get more oil from Venezuela.
We also see the competitiveness of Canadian oil.
And what critics say is needed to head off a future economic threat. We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News and watch live on Crave.
105.3 Virgin Radio is KW's #1 hit music station. Home of Jeff, KP, and Backstage Ben in the morning. Listen to 105.3 Virgin Radio everywhere with the iHeartRadio app.
Let's check back in with Krista for a look at what our team is working on as we head into the evening. Krista.
Well, Leanne, many people like heading to a pub to hear some live music, have some food, though that music is not usually classical music. But that is what is happening at a beer bar in Kitchener tonight, where a woodwind quintet made up of members of the KW Symphony will be serenading guests. Spencer Turcott is there too, and we'll have more tonight at 11:30. The Symphony, of course, is in its resurgence year, rebuilding and trying to reach new audiences after it had to file for bankruptcy in 2023. Leanne.
Okay, well, that should be a good, fun night. Krista, thanks so much. Ashley, Krista's talking about food, music,
man.
having fun. We're sitting here talking about
We should be out there with Spencer. Listening to some music and having a bite to eat.
I want a burger and some fries.
That sounds great. That sounds great. But before we do that, let's have a look at our wake-up weather board, Leanne. It's going to be a nice start to the day. Flurries into the early hours of tomorrow, but by the time most of us wake up, it will be cloudy and 0, with temperatures only continuing to rise throughout the day. So above seasonal temperatures tomorrow, which might mean some snow melt and, you know, a little bit messy out there.
Yeah, hopefully most of that snow melts and finds a place to melt overnight tonight, because wow, beautiful conditions if we're able to get outside and actually enjoy it without, you know, navigating through the puddles tomorrow.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
It's better than ice, and better ice than ice in your house.
It's better than ice in your house, and that brings us to our next story, Ashley, because a huge cleanup is underway in a Quebec apartment. Landlords discovered this icy disaster yesterday.
Gosh. It's way worse than I thought.
I told you, it was bad. We were laughing because Ashley hadn't looked at this visual yet, but I took a sneak peek. So anyways, they were legally allowed to enter the residence, the landlords were, after evicting the tenant.
Wow, they found multiple water pipes had burst and flooded the apartment. A thick layer of ice clearly covers everything in there. The landlords say they will have to gut the unit and find out what will be covered by insurance.
I have questions because I want to know, did the tenants know that this was happening, or was this all after they were evicted?
I mean, regardless, it's going to be quite the cleanup.
Quite the cleanup and quite the cost to cover it, I'm sure. That's not a situation anyone would want to get in.
Nope, not I.
All right, well, hopefully the roads aren't like that out there tonight. Take care. That's it from us. Have a good night.